Today we speak about the role of the shamanic practitioner, and we explain if it's the same thing of being a shaman, and why is it needed to become a healer nowadays, especially nowadays in our community, in this particular moment in time. So a shamanic practitioner or shaman, because I would use the same word for both of them, is a healer, because shamanism is a form of healing and probably one of the most ancient ones. I say that the two words are the same because we don't need to be focused on the person. We don't need to be focused on labeling, on the definition. This is something that comes just from the mind point of view, that wants to make a distinction. That wants to say, there are some authors that say that actually real shaman is only person that lives in a native environment, away from the contamination of the civilized world, in a forest, and deep contact and pure contact with nature. But again, there is not a form of one of them is more authentic than the other one, because otherwise there would be just a mind that try to say this is true, the other one is false, and we need to focus on two things. One is the purpose. So we need to focus on something that is soul related, the purpose of this work, the purpose of the healing in itself, which is to settled and cure imbalances within the soul and the body and mind of people and animals as well. And the second element is that the practitioner or the person in itself, the human being, is just a vehicle, is just an instrument, a tool that the spirits use to work to be able to support a person in all the works that needs to be done. It's not mediumship, even if mediumship is one of the elements of shamanism as well, because we don't communicate as the main purpose having spirits that come through our body, spirits that belong to people that passed away. So we are not passing a message from that perspective, even if I said that is one of the other elements when we speak about the element of death, which is a very essential one in shamanism, because originally, actually, the shaman was not a healer. It was a person doing psychopomp, because it was very much connected with this element of death. Then, throughout the century, this term has transformed, evolved, and more concentrated on one meaning compared to the other one. So the spirits are those that work through us, so through our hands, which of course have the power, like we all do have the power of working from an energetic point of view and communicating with people on a soul level, and being able to support and help where a person cannot come, not simply just because of limitations, but because when we are, there is an element of, let's say, decluttering that needs to be done on a soul level that can only be done when a person is helping you. That's also why it's important that we as healers go through the same process, and every now and then we just receive healing as well, so that at least our channels can remain pure, and we can be as clean as possible in order to be able to channel from above, and not to work through our mind or through our ego, because that's the end. If we operate on a mind level, we are not helping people. We are just doing something that actually would not be able to support people as well. Which doesn't mean when we, for example, at the beginning of a session, there is an element of conversation that you can call it counseling, you can call it coaching according to the different definitions. Even then, there is a specific shamanic counseling approach within the sessions that we practice as well. There is always an element, let's say a spiritual conversation that we do at the beginning of the session, of the one-to-one session, because we need to listen to the person, because we need to understand and hear at the unsaid what the person is not communicating. To be able also to support from a words point of view, because sometimes people need to speak and share, and we need to be able to hold the space and listen. So this is something, an element that I find very important at the beginning of a one-to-one session. Then, of course, when the session starts, it's the spirit works. So whatever is needed, whatever we channel, whatever we pass from the communication of the spirits that might be related to any matters in the past, any patterns, then of course we are simply neutral point where we are guided. And many times, for example, there are practitioners as well that at the end of the sessions do not remember anything at all, because they are so much in tune and channel in that moment, and then they start speaking other languages, they start passing messages, and once they are out from the ecstatic state, at the end of the session, they just simply don't remember anything. This is a sensitive, ecstatic personal experience that can change in every person. But becoming a shamanic practitioner or a shaman is an extremely fascinating work, because it's not a hobby, it's a work, and it's a work that is a soul mission, helping others. It's one of the many ways from which we can experience the spiritual work that is so much needed to help other people awaken. And where we are at least sure 100% that we are not reinforcing the ego, because we are not so much involved in the process of healing in terms from the mind point of view, in terms from the human being point of view. And that is really the wonderful element that we need to have trust that what is happening is entirely what is supposed to be, and it's free from any judgment, it's free from any conditions also, because the client is in a condition of relaxation. Or of course there are sessions where the client needs to be empowered in a transformation, in a more active role, where there are things that might be needed from the client perspective to do and to participate in the session. That's why it's also a difference compared to other energy therapies where the client is only lying down and receiving. There might be occasions where the clients need to be involved in these transformations. And the healing is only one of the many aspects that we learn when we become a shamanic practitioner. So in the next session, we are going to discover a little bit more about all the wonderful topics that we learn. But the most important one is the self transformation that you need to go through in order to be able to help others. Otherwise, if you don't I would say, sort out yourself, which is never definite, because there are always things to do, then you cannot help others. So the role of the self-transformation is essential. So you need to change yourself first. You need to go through your own darkness first. Otherwise, how can you help other people to go through their own darkness? You can't. You are already too busy to have a look with yours, which will always be there, but at least once you've done through a specific process, you can become a little bit more grounded and holding in the space and forget about all the things that you have in your life, because they are there. There will always be there. There will always be something. But at least you can be more stable, as much stable as is needed in that moment when you need to help someone, when you need to share with groups your little wisdom that we have, that we learn step by step. And you need to be as stable as possible in order to be able to become a point of reference of people, meaning that you are there for them. Also not forgetting to take care of yourself, which is of course essential, because otherwise, we always need to remember ourselves in terms of well-being practitioners. When our tank is empty, there is nothing else that we can give. But actually, in itself, when we are working, we are regenerating our energy, because there is so much joy when you are working with others and helping others in evolving, and you see the changes in them, and you see their light coming out, that then the more, it's not even a work, you are basically recharging your battery each time. You're just busy, occupied in an activity that has to do in improving this world. That's why becoming a shamanic practitioner, it's an amazing opportunity to join one of the many spiritual paths, and you need to have a call. So the next group that we are starting, it's on the 20th of April for another year of studies to become shamanic practitioners. And as I've already said, it's for spiritual people only. So you may have had a sort of awakening, but you don't know how to deal with that. Absolutely. But if you are still with one foot in the reality, let's say in the reality of the matrix, as we know, and you still need to do that part, you are going to, and you decide to join this journey. But first of all, maybe you don't even have the call. But if the universe sends you to join this journey, then it will be quite revelating, quite tough, because you're going to question everything. While instead, if you're already open to any sort of form of spiritual work, that doesn't mean to be already in the shamanic path, but it means at least admit that something else exists. Then call it how you want, call it universe, call it nature, call it God, plural, God, singular. At least you need to be able to be open to admit that there is something else.